Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First question. What is the best way or best adab to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
I think I'll answer Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ajma'in. Allahumma alhimna rushdana wa alna min shururi anfusina. I think I answered this question. The best way of thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to use all favors, everything given to you in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And this is the interpretation of the verse, اعملوا آل داود شكرا, work or have your deeds, people of Dawood or family of Dawood, shukran, as a thanking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as thanking. And I wrote in the word, Allahumma laka alhamdu shukran wa laka al-minnu fadlan, as a way of having the tongue, in one of the best way of thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Does verse 60 of Surah Nur permit women to take off the hijab when they are very old?
According to the majority of scholars, no. Why? I just think about it. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? وَأَنْ يَسْتَعْفِفْنَ خَيْرٌ لَهُنْ. Okay? And here, the whole point runs about iffa. What's the meaning of iffa? The meaning of iffa, that means nothing of that matters, runs in the minds. Usually, it ran to that mind, And I'm sorry to tell you, nowadays, we are all stimulated, and we are all under a significant pressure of having this idea come to our minds all the times. And by this, you don't see the expression of وَأَنْ يَسْتَعْفِفْنَ خَيْرٌ لَهُمْ. Again, please, whenever you read any verse or any statement from the Prophet, read it completely and carefully and try to understand what's the meaning behind it.
Is it the right of the wife to have children, or is it just the husband's right? So if he doesn't want children, she doesn't have any right.
The idea of the children perhaps was not discussed, in the past, because they don't have the sophisticated way of conception that we have nowadays. But anyway, contraception, should say, okay. But anyway, they mentioned the Prophet that she has the full right to have the enjoyment of the complete action in that regard, which means that she may have the right of the children also.
If a woman is breastfeeding and she becomes pregnant, can she carry on breastfeeding?
Yes, she may.
There has been an increase in Islamic cartoons which educate people. Should a TV channel be made if they educate and benefit people, or is it not a good idea?
Whenever there's benefit, it's okay to have it, And anything in this regard, we should weigh its benefit and its disadvantages, and go by the judgment that we have.
Can a young man shake hands with a really old woman? If yes, how old does she have to be?
She should be too old, according to Hanafi, should be too old, and there's no desire toward her at all. By anyone, not by him.
Okay. There's another question in the opposite. A young woman shaking hands with an old man.
I think it's the same matter, even though some may say it's different, but I think it's the same matter.
If you have a ring of 9 karat gold, do you have to pay zakah on it? How do you work out how much to pay?
It's according to the weight of it. If the weight is 85 grams, regardless of the percentage of the gold, you should pay, zakah for them, And again, it's regarding the weight, not the made of it, because the way it's made, it may have some value or whatever. we are concerned about the weight, how many grams.
Please give names of ulama. Which institutes would you recommend for authentic knowledge? Thank you.
I refer this question to Shaykh Nuruddin.
Requires a long answer. Inshallah, maybe before the end of the halaqa, we'll try to produce a list for you. But I might not be the best person to do it. I'm a little bit over precautious, I think, when it comes to ulama.
So you leave this paper in your bucket, just as a reminder.
I have heard some people say paying for a buffet type meal is not allowed because you don't know what you are paying for precisely. Is this correct?
Again, I did not know precisely what do you mean by buffet, in this type, Yeah, this is for me, it's very wide and broad question, and to give definite answer for it, it's too difficult for me, unless you have some clarification of it.
I'll try. Please, audience, help me. Basically, it's when they pay a fee to enter, food is laid out in front of them, and they have the opportunity to eat as much as they like. But they can't take any away with them. Correct? Thank you.
This, according to majority of scholars, it's prohibited to have it. Perhaps it's permitted according to Hanbali. I think there's some certain statement about it. And other madhab, because of jahala, it's not permitted.
Can you tell us the story of Harut and Marut in Babylon?
We have a lot of controversy about this. Are they angels or not? And if they are angels, did they commit sin or not? Okay. Briefly, what I understand, which may be right or wrong, they are angels, they are immune, they did not commit any sin. Okay, they were sent by Allah as a test. That's why it's mentioned in the Quran, إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. And they are the teachers of black magic. If this a prohibited knowledge or prohibited science to be practiced, those malaika, they are a test from Allah, fitna from Allah, to test people, for this. And they are the one who taught the people how to practice this black magic. If you want to know further, there's a long hadith in Mustadrak al-Hakim speak about a woman who was taken there to Babel and how her imam went outside her, and she became a magician, and when she returned back to Medina, the Prophet wasn't alive at that time, and she asked the companion if there's any repentance to her, and most of them, they were hesitant, subhanAllah. These high figures, of people, they'll be hesitant to answer the questions. We are here, small one, and we answer everything, okay? So they said, if you have parents, and you are going to be good to your parents, your repentance may be accepted, but now we cannot have an answer for it. I'm not the best one to be asked about it. I know there's a lot of controversy. My belief that they are angels, but they are not sinful as many people they narrate, or written, in the books. They are angels, they are immune, and they were assigned to teach people the black magic, which is prohibited on the human, not prohibited on the angels, because this is the command given to them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is supported by the verse when in Surah Al-Baqarah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ.
To what extent can a woman adorn herself when going out with her husband?
Shouldn't do this at all. This is the way nowadays done, to have the best, shape and the best smell and whatever. All these matters, they are prohibited. This should be practiced inside the house for the husband only, not for anyone else.
Many people complain of jinn problems, possession. How many of these cases are actually true, or are they linked to mental health issues? A related question, has mental health been discussed by the Prophet ﷺ or earlier generations?
For the first part of the question, I haven't studied it, I expect that we have significant number of those problems of jinn. Besides them, we have significant number of our problems, When the spouses, they have a problem, they say there's jinn or black magic or whatever, but they don't look at the characters of the two spouses and if there's any problem, initiated from one side of them. And really, I do believe in black magic, but before accusing the others, let's accuse ourselves, about our practice and whatever. So again, I'm sorry, I don't have a percentage because I haven't studied. My expectation to have good number in this side, the field of jinn, and the other side, the bad characters that we suffer from it nowadays a lot, For the second part of the question was about,
has mental health been discussed by the Prophet ﷺ or earlier generations?
for sure there's few hadith speaking about it. One hadith came to my mind now, at-talbina, there's special type of substance done. We have some people, they do it nowadays. Back in Syria, they said, the Prophet ﷺ said, majammatul fu'ad. And this to give you peaceful time, okay? And this, I think that this description given by the Prophet ﷺ fit the psychological and psychiatric problems much more than the physical one.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I sinful for serving my husband's family more than my own family?
I don't like the way these questions they have been written, as if we have two portions, opposite to each other and contradict with each other. My expectation, I may be completely wrong. You have free time to serve your family and to serve your husband's family, but apparently you feel some problem, inside yourself. You don't want to say, okay. If by theory, even though I think practically I don't see it available in most cases, in theory, if it happened to obey your husband, this is one of your pillars, when the Prophet ﷺ said, if the woman obey her husband, prayed her 5 prayers, fast Ramadan, and protected herself, she is guaranteed to enter the heaven. Okay, so here I look at this issue as a matter of pleasing the husband, and everyone, even in your family side, they should be cooperative, and understand your position. Okay, most probably, to be honest with you, this comes from a person who doesn't want to work. I'll give you an example about it. I was teaching tajweed, in one mosque, in Riyadh city, and a person came. He said, how long you are going to be busy, teaching tajweed and leaving the other aspect of Sharia? Why you don't give tafsir? Why you don't give fiqh? Why you don't give... While he was speaking with me, I noticed a golden ring, in his finger. I said, okay, we are going to speak about something else, okay? Take away this golden ring from your finger. He said, no, then this is this and that. And what I'm trying to say, those people, to be honest with you, most of us, we have a lot of free time. And in general speaking, in most cases, no one is going to interfere with our free time, okay? But we try to be picky on each other, I like tafsir, I don't like tajweed. I'm going to address this person. Why do you do so? Okay, let's assume this person who is busy with tajweed is busy 24 hours. Why you don't do tafsir? Why do you ask the other one to do it? Okay, here basically, rather than making these matters or this duty as a Muslim, we have duty. I'm not going to say many duties. We have duties, you know. All of us, we have duties. And one of the major duties here for the woman, you know, to obey her husband, to serve his family, to serve her family. Okay? She have duties rather than making them, you know, contradict with each other, you know, and opposite to each other or oppose each other. Let's, by her intelligence, you know, by her smartness, no one is going to help her, make them go along, you know, with each other. Let's her handle this position. I spoke, you know, in a few hours ago about Sayyidi Asi and how she was the wife of a person say, I am the highest lord ever, okay? And she was successful, you know, to handle her life, you know, and reach one of the highest rank of the woman ever, you know. And this, I look at her as a model or example that any woman, she has the ability to do this by one way or another.
Assalamu alaikum. How should one dispose of mail, i.e. from charities, with ayats from the Quran, the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on them?
In reality, they have this good way, you know. They have these containers outside the mosques, you know. You put the paper or whatever there and going to burn all of this document, you know. It's a very closed system, you know. But here, even back in Syria, we don't have such thing, you know. Either you shred it, you know, you have the machine of shredding paper, you know, or try to burn it, you know. But be too careful, you know, about it. Otherwise, you may have the alarm going, you know, and people come to you, you know, and the police and everybody. You know. You should find your way, either shred it, you know, or have some collection, or try to make what has been done in Riyadh city in certain area or certain mosques.
Assalamu alaikum. Is animal rennet not from pig halal?
What's the animal rennet?
Personally, I don't know. Anybody know animal rennet?
Or cheese making a thing, but I'm not sure what it is.
Now, where does it come from? How is it produced?
This the anfaha, that's me. This according to Hanafi, it's permitted, it's halal. According to Shafi'i, the animal should be slaughtered according to Islamic regulation. And you have some different opinion about it, you know. For sure, from big, it's prohibited. From the other resources, the Hanafi, they permit to have it regardless of the way of slaughtering or if this is maita or not, okay?
Is there a minimum amount of alcohol in a product, e.g. 0.05%? Sorry, if there is a minimum amount of alcohol in a product, is it still halal?
If this added to it, it's not halal at all, okay? If this is going to be like a reaction or something of that regard, this may be permitted. Why I'm saying so? When I have a juice here, you know, I did it by my hand, okay? Chemically, after 1 hour or 2 hours, if you inspect it very well, you are going to find a trivial amount of alcohol there, okay? And it's going to build up. So all those cans, you know, and other bottles, you know, or whatever, scientifically, they may contain some of this alcohol, but this was not added or meant to be done, you know. This is the ordinary and natural reaction that we have nowadays, okay? And these products, if this is the natural way, you are permitted to have it or use it, you know. If this was added, no, it's prohibited.
If someone repeats the same ayah of sajda a lot in a moving car, is one sajda enough?
Yes, one sajda is enough because the car is considered as one place, you know. Whenever you move from one place to another, you should repeat your sajda.
What is the best way to see the Prophet ﷺ in our dreams? Any specific methods? Salawat.
Poor person. I said, you know, according to some famous scholar, they said the major barrier of seeing the Prophet ﷺ, they mentioned two items. Firstly, love of dunya, which we are about to speak about, inshallah tomorrow we'll speak more deeply about it, which I think myself and many others, they may have this problem. The other one, which again we have this problem, is to have the inner different than the outer, or having to wear many masks, on your face, which we suffer a lot of it. My question to the asker, you just want, to see the Prophet ﷺ by making certain salah and then bye-bye, go away, or you want to have continuous relation with him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though you may not see him. And here this is the major point. Perhaps you are interested in the first one, I don't know why. Because you want to see the Prophet, or you want to speak about it among people, or to become a Shaykh, or this or that, I don't know. Whereas the other one, even though he may have much more difficulties, he may not be that happy as the first one, but this person has much more is much more near the Prophet ﷺ than the first one, and the Prophet ﷺ is much more pleased with him than the first one. Okay, what I'm trying to say, this is an open channel for all of us, to get closer to the Prophet ﷺ. In my view, I may be right or wrong, I would like to get closer and have the Prophet ﷺ pleased with me the way he wants, not the way I want, okay? And here, you want to dream about him ﷺ, you want to speak up, about your dream or whatever. Perhaps the Prophet ﷺ wanted it in different way, okay? And which one is going to work for you much better? I think the second way, not the first one, okay? I cannot deny there's a lot of book. I have complete book, speaking about salawat, special salawat, to see the Prophet ﷺ. I have heard from some shaykh that anyone practices and he is successful, it's not going to be complete sight, it's going to be deficient by one way or another. Okay, this is again very important point, not the seeing of the Prophet ﷺ is not perfect in all of its aspects. Sometimes you may have some deficiency from your side, not from the Prophet ﷺ side. You may have this deficiency sometimes, and this is maybe problematic sometimes, okay? And I know about a person who see the Prophet ﷺ not in dream, physically he see him, and he think himself that he is the Mahdi and he is Qutb al-Zaman, okay? And here, not always this action, this action for me is very, one of my hobby, in this life, and I love it a lot, but what we should be careful about the result and the outcome of it.
If your Shaykh passes away, should you remake bay'ah elsewhere or not? As barzakh is a part of reality, would my Shaykh be closer to me now?
In principle, as Shaykh al-Akbar said, if he is in barzakh, he cannot give you tarbiyah except through an alive person. For the first portion of the question, if you finish your tarbiyah with your Shaykh, you don't have to have another Shaykh. If it's not finished, yes, you should find another Shaykh to complete your tarbiyah, or restart, or if nothing done, to start tarbiyah.
If a parent made the intention of saving some money for their kids in his own bank account for future, can they use the money for something else? Would they have to make up the used amount of the original money?
I think we answered this before, that anything belong to your child, he is different identity than you, okay? Don't feel you are mixed, with your child. Emotionally, physically, or whatever, you may mix with your child, but here the Islam gave
different rights to this identity called so and so, who is completely different. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ said, كل أحد أحق بماله من ولده ووالده والناس أجمعين. Everyone has the full right, much more than anyone else, even his father or son or anyone else. Okay, by this, you should be careful about it. You shouldn't use it. Eventually, when you use the money of your child, you should make it up, as you said. It's not a good idea to get interest, by putting it in the bank.
Is it makruh for an imam to lead Taraweeh as 4 rakat with 1 salam instead of 2?
This may be accepted according to Hanafi, even though it's not the best way. The best way to have it 2 rak'ahs by 2 rak'ahs, but this is not going to be valid according to other mazhabs. And here, I think all of us, we should be aware about the others' rules and try to fulfill it, in our prayer, especially the imam. And I know about very famous Hanafi people, in Syria, who used to lead the prayer, and whenever they are about to get out of their house, they will not let their wife touch them, because this break wudu according to Shafi. They are not Shafi, they are al-Hanafi, but since they are going to lead the prayer and you have different people, persons, to pray behind him, is going to be a word and in the safe side all the time. And this is, I think, applicable much more for Taraweeh. Why? Because this is something you do it voluntarily, and that's why you should meet the others' need in this regard.
Is it permissible to recommend divorce for one's parents if they constantly argue and have done so for many years? Can siblings speak about their concern about their parents' marriage with each other?
I cannot tell you here for sure. Some of these cases, they are going to end by divorce, the others know. How to look at it? I look at theoretically from the weigh the advantages and disadvantages, okay? How things going to go with each one of these two parents, the mother and the father, if they stay with each other, and how it's going to be when they get separated from each other. For sure, I'm quite sure you have a lot of benefit and lot of damages, by the first solution, and you have a lot of benefit and lot of damages by the second solution. But you should go by the best, okay? You judge this and that, you weigh this and that, and by this, inshallah, you'll have a good conclusion about what is better.
Women are always told from a young age about the rights and importance of a husband, but men are not always taught the same about wives and usually think they have to choose between their wife or mother. Why is this?
I heard this today or yesterday, or this was a question came from the woman's side, that we in this culture we have been taught about feminism a lot, and here we have a problem, okay? And for the asker, I'm going to ask, if someone treated you unjustly, who is the luckiest one, you or the other one? If you have, in general, zalim and mazlum, the one who is unjust and the other one has been treated unjustly. The one who is treated, is the luckiest one, because this one has no one has any right on him, In the hereafter, he's going to be saved, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the high probability that is going to forgive him and is going to run away quickly to heaven, whereas the other one is going to be stopped, and everyone, please forgive me, no, I'm not going to forgive you, and you name it. Here, when you look at this particular matter that you ask about from dunya-wise, you may be completely right, and you have been oppressed a lot. When you look at it as This life and the other life, it's the opposite story. Okay? It's completely the opposite story. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ instructed us, اتقوا الله وأصلحوا ذات بينكم. Okay? Secondly, I may differ, I am male, you are female, the asker is female, I may differ. I may say the opposite. The males, they know the full rights, of their wives, and the wives, they don't know the full right of the males. Yeah. Here we are going to argue, till the hereafter, without reaching any point, This is not the point that we are speaking about. Whenever you are examined, or tested by the other gender, okay, you should, as a responsible person, do whatever needed, whatever obliged from you, and then you complain to Allah and or speak with the other one. And this is the Prophet ﷺ mentioned it, not in particularly in this matter. He mentioned it when you have unjust ruler, or governor, of the whole state. They said you are going to give your rights, okay? Give back your rights and complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here is, I think, I look at it as the same.
What are the benefits of hijama?
I am not that good, to speak about the physical and seen benefit, I would like to speak about the spiritual benefit much more. The most benefit of hijama, to follow the steps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Nowadays, many people are doing joint weddings where bride and groom do one ceremony same day, meaning walima and nikah together. Is this allowed?
If they have two different halls, and everyone is each hall, and done without have mixture, it's allowed. Otherwise no.
Was it a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to praise or comment on food, i.e. this is very tasty or too salty?
The other portion, never. And the Prophet ﷺ, مَا عَابَ طَعَامًا قَطْ. He did not speak badly about any food. Either he eat or stop eating, refrain eating. He will not say any bad thing, about any food. Generally speaking, the Prophet ﷺ was not excessively praiser of anything. وَلَيْسَ بِالْمَدَّاحِ وَلَيْسَ بِالْعَيَّابِ. And he will not excessively praise anything, he will not excessively condemn anything, since he is a messenger and he has some responsibility. Even whenever he wants to condemn anything, he's not going to point to a certain person or put someone down. He's going to speak in general whenever he condemn any of wrongdoing.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu
Is it permissible to dispose of nail and hair clippings in the bin, or must one bury, throw in a river?
To best of my knowledge, I may be wrong, This mentioned by some scholars. You don't have any hadith in this, And it's mentioned by them not to have anyone take this portion from you and make black magic to you. This is the main purpose behind it, okay? So here, the one who is interested in burying these matters, I'm not going to say this is bid'ah or don't do it or whatever, But what I may say, as you may feel, we concentrate a lot on those trivial matters, and we practice or try to not care a lot, about much more important matters, in our life. And I hope this asker, he or she doesn't miss Fajr prayer.
Assalamu alaikum. If you have a lot of qada prayers to make up,
You come.
thank you.
Right.
If you have a lot of qada prayers to make up, would you recommend praying those qadas instead of the sunnahs? And if you are very much busied and not able to pray a large number of qadas a day, will you be sinful?
I spoke about it in the past. I'm going to explain it shortly. When you ask any Hanafi scholar, about this mas'ala, he'll tell you, you may pray sunnah. Okay. When you ask me, I'm going to say, don't pray sunnah at all. Why? Because even though it's mentioned in the Fiqh Hanafi book that you may pray sunnah, they give the assumption that you spend all of your time praying, okay? And they said the one who has a plenty of prayer to be made up, he shouldn't occupy his time without anything except the needed eating and sleeping, and the rest of the time should be spent praying. I don't see it in the practice nowadays. When I don't see it in the practice, and the best one among these people who's going to pray, let's say, four farad, with one farad, I'm going to answer him, yes, don't pray any sunnah, pray your farida. Why? Because it's called obligation, and the other one called tradition. Okay, that's it.
What are the fard actions of wudu in the Shafi'i school?
There are 6 items besides the 4 mentioned in the verse, which are to wash the complete face, wash the complete arms till including the elbows, and wipe few hairs from your head, and to wash the 2 feet till the ankles. Besides these 4, which are by one way or another obligation in Hanafi Mazhab, you have 2 more, which are to make intention at the beginning of washing the face, and to have them in order, namely in order between the main orders, not between right and left. Between right and left, it is sunnah according to Shafi'i, but to have the face before the arms is obligation, to have the arms before the head is obligation, and to have the head before the feet is obligation.
Assalamu alaikum. How should women students behave, interact with their teachers, shuyukh? Is it bad adab for her to look at the ustaz during the lesson? Shukran.
And in all of our action, we should observe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who said, أَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَرَى. Did not he know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look at him? Okay. Well, just think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look at you, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going to be told, about what you have done today, and do whatever is going to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger.
Could you use mud for tayammum if there is no water around, and does your wudu break if you have a seizure? 2 different questions.
Okay. For the first portion of it, use mud. I don't think so. You don't use mud. You use stone. For sure, whenever you have mud, you have a stone, and the stone is much better than the mud to be used, for tayammum. For the second portion, in seizure, if you pass out, if you are knocked out, for sure you should renew your wudu, because this stage is much more worse than sleeping. Okay? If you have some twitches, in the tongue or whatever, or of those matter, without being unconscious, you don't have to repeat your wudu.
Is it makruh tahriman to speak about Karbala or Sayyidina Imam Hussein in Muharram? If one was to speak about other Sahaba as well, would it still be makruh?
This thing mentioned in Hanafi books that the one who wants to speak of Karbala, he should speak about the killing of Sayyidina Umar, the killing of Sayyidina Uthman, and the killing of Sayyidina Ali. And then when he reached Karbala, he will speak about it. This is the first point, should be well understood. The second point, which I look at it as very important one, whenever you speak about Karbala or about anything, okay, don't put anyone in your responsibility that they are going to be responsible for, okay? Because these are stories, okay, from history. How accurate, we don't know. Politics has a lot to do in this. Different sections has a lot to do in things, and that's why we have, let's say, 10 accurate narration. Besides them, we have 100 inaccurate narration. And the problem, we don't know what the 10 they are. Okay, so here, if I'm going to speak about Karbala and condemn this person and that person, for sure I'm going to be more sinful. Okay, and if you want to, if you are too interested in speaking about battles, and killing, speak about the ghazawat of the Prophet ﷺ, and put in the highest top, those the highest rank, those companions who were killed with him ﷺ, and condemn a lot, those people who were killed, from the other side. Here you feel free again. Here, just get used to your tongue to have the benefit, to be investing organ for you, because this is the worst organ ever we have. Okay, and the Prophet ﷺ said this is the organ that is going to make many of us, go to hellfire on their faces or on their noses. Okay, so here you should invest this tongue a lot, and don't use it except with whatever is beneficial for you. And that's why many people, they were hesitant. When Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz is much closer to that time and much more knowledgeable than us. When he was asked about them, he said, this blood, the blood which was wasted, at that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved us of being a part of killing or whatever, so we should save our tongues of speaking in them. This is the idea of Sayyidina Umar ibn Aziz, and I look at it as highly, very smart and genius idea.
Is it true that if we do not remove the hair from the armpits and the private parts for more than 40 days, our dua will not be accepted? Please give Hanafi and Shafi'i perspective.
To best of my knowledge, that it is recommended, it's compulsory to have them removed, and especially if they are going to be too long, and contain some dirt there. But to best of my knowledge, it has nothing to do with the dua. Dua is different category. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may accept dua even from the mushrik or kafir.
Some Hanafi scholars say it is wrong to have adhan as your phone ringtone. Is this opinion correct?
From Hanafi?
Yes.
Abu Hanifa, during his time, you don't have an iPhone.
Some Hanafi scholars.
I should clarify this point, okay? When you have shuyukh nowadays, I prefer, I don't know what's your opinion, don't say this is Hanafi or Shafi, okay? Say some of the shuyukh nowadays, okay? Why? When you say Hanafi, that means you gave the burden, the responsibility of all Abu Hanifa and his people, from that. This is something happened new, and you have different opinion, and you may have 3 shuyukh of the one who educated as Hanafi and 2 who are educated as Shafi'i, say it's permitted, and the other 2 and 3 of other mazhab, they said it's not permitted. So what I'm trying to say, for the current fatwa that we get, I prefer not to relate it to Abu Hanifa and Shafi'i and okay, just related to our shuyukh nowadays. Don't mention the name, say some of the shuyukh nowadays, they said this is permitted or not permitted, okay? To best of my knowledge, I don't see there's anything to prohibit it. I don't know what was the reason behind saying it's haram, from that particular Hanafi Shaykh, but in my mind, I don't find it, that problematic, For sure, I would prefer it to have it for anyone much more than having a song or tune or whatever of that regard. And the best thing to have the old way, of have that ring, without adhan, without anything. Yes.
Is there anything to read for someone who wants to be organized?
Yes. This dua from the Prophet, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min shatati al-amr wa wahar al-sadr wa adhab al-qabr. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min shatati al-amr wa wahar al-sadr wa adhab al-qabr.
I know of someone who has committed adultery who has ever since regretted the act. The person is now at a stage where they are questioning their belief. The person has sought forgiveness but feels it's not enough and is thinking they may not be forgiven. What advice should be given to such a person? Also, would this person now have to marry that person?
First, as we said before, for sure this is a enormous sin, or major sin. I cannot say look at it as a minor one, but at any way we should encourage that person by building his knowledge in Allah, building his love to Allah, building his trust in Allah, because this should be much more than his sin. For the other component of the question, if they have problem, the other side they have problem, perhaps this is part of the solution and is highly recommended to try to repair by doing this. So, if it's not a problem, I don't look at it as a must or highly recommended. It's optional.
What's the best advice for a wife who asks her husband for her right, which is to have her own place, house, instead of living with in-laws, but husband feels he needs to stay with his parents? Thank you.
I don't know how to answer this question because, let me see myself, if I'm getting old, and I should be served, by my son, and his wife will not let him come to me. How do I feel? How do I feel? How am I going to answer this question? And here, this poor son, he has the rights, right of his wife and right of his father or mother, okay? And here, the woman speaks, perhaps she had a lot of pain, she had a lot of difficulties, you name it, I cannot estimate the position she is at, but on the other hand, you have some problem, and you may be yourself, the same woman, she may be the victim, of this, when she gets old, either she is going to be thrown in the nursing home, or having the son not coming at all, or you name it, So that's why, here, all those questions came to me. I don't like them, not because, feel free to ask whatever you, but all of them, they sound for me oppose each thing, or like a bumping, against each other, all the time. Why we don't have adult choice, Is this the way to live? For this particular woman in particular, okay? She doesn't like her children to have this way of attitude, and it's going to come, okay? This has been practiced by many persons, in Syria, okay? They have this behavior with their brothers and sisters, but they try to keep their children to get along, with each other. For sure, after his death, they are going to be in the same path, okay? And this woman, I don't accuse this woman, but if she has this attitude, of having bombs, all the time, or explosions, or whatever is going to happen in her own family and in her own children, and she is going to observe it in her life. Okay, please, let's all of us, I'm not blaming anyone, all of us, we should find better way to get along with each other, okay? This life contains a lot of good matters, contain a lot of bad and hated matter to me, okay? I'm obliged to live this living. I cannot end my life. I should carry on, okay? Not all surrounding around me please me. Some I hate a lot, okay? But I should get along with them. It's better to find a solution to all of these matters rather than put it, all this, but oppose each other, or bump with each other, or have some problem. This is the way I hate to look at those relations. We as Muslims, we shouldn't be as such, you know. I mentioned this hadith twice, I'm going to repeat it third time. خذ العفو وأمر بالعرف. This ayah Qur'aniyah, this in the Quran. خذ العفو وأمر بالعرف وأعرض عن الجاهلين. Sayyidina Jibreel told the Prophet, you have been instructed to forgive the one who being unjust with you, to give the one who refrain or prohibit any money to come to you, and to build a relation with the one who interrupted all relation with you. We may not be as angels, you know, as these people, you know, but at least let's have a better way. And all of us, without any exception, we are too smart, you know, to handle the problems, the difference, you know, among our children. All of us, without exception. Why we are too smart and too kind and too nice in this field, and we are that bad, you know, in the other field? There's something wrong. That means we give priority to our interest than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed us to do. Yes.
Can you please repeat the dua for organization?
اللهم إني أعوذ بك من شتات الأمر ووحر الصدر وعذاب القبر.
Last question. For the intention of dawah with non-Muslim males, can a woman act in a friendly manner, e.g. smile, talk to them, but making sure she stays within the limit? What are the etiquette?
She is gone already above the limits. No, this is prohibited. Leave it for Shahada to do. He's making da'wah for some persons.
Finally, a request for Fatiha for somebody's ilm.
جزاكم الله خيرا.